the signature. Another thing, we're seeing allies from the president, including Lou Dobbs, encouraging people to go to the places where the votes are being counted and surround them, Judy. There are a lot of people worried about that kind of language.
Our votes are being suppressed. We cannot count the votes properly. What's happening is they have moved the barrier up to 6 feet, but they took away the ballot machines that were in the front row and moved them to the back of the building. It's unbelievable what they're trying to do to our votes that have been legally cast. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, your legal votes must be tabulated, and they're not doing that. They will not let us see anything. They're trying to drown us out now where we can't be heard. We're not going away. And now we're going to take further remedy to fix this. There's a woman who was in there that Corey's going to talk to you about who represented the city with your tax dollars, and he's going to tell you what she's doing. But we are not going to stand for this. We're not going anywhere. They are defying a court order by a judge, and this is not the last of this.
Listen, guys, your taxpayer money here in the city of Philadelphia is going to a private attorney by the name of Michelle Hangley. And what she said was she would determine if the court order was valid or not. And I'll be happy to release the video of her. They have 8 attorneys fighting us to see these ballots inside. The court order is in effect. They will not give us access, and the sheriff has decided not to come down here to enforce that court order. The sheriff of your county will not come down and enforce a court order. What is going on in this city? What are you hiding? Open up the doors, let us in, let us 6 feet away so that we can have a free and fair election. Whether you voted for Donald Trump or you voted for Joe Biden, everybody has a right to witness what's transpiring here. This makes it look like a kangaroo court. We deserve better, and we're not leaving till we witness every single vote that transpires in here.
Why would anybody try to prevent oversight of vote counting? It's a really simple question. What's the answer? One poll watcher, a man called Brian McCafferty, explained that election officials just weren't allowing him to watch what they were doing.
Okay, my name's Brian McCafferty. I was inside the Philadelphia Convention Center today observing people counting votes. I got thrown out because I took video of corrupt people trying to undermine the President of the United States. And this gentleman right here, he threw me out. He told me I'm not allowed back in. And the reason is because I took video of people trying to undermine and have a coup against the President of the United States.
Brian McCafferty joins us now. Mr. McCafferty, thanks so much for coming on. So tell us what you believe you saw in there.
Hi, Tucker, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, thanks.
Okay, great. So yesterday I was asked to be a watcher. It's called a pre-canvas / canvas watcher. And I walked into the convention center yesterday at 8 a.m. not knowing what I would expect. And there was really no direction. And it was complete chaos. And it was at that point that I had the opportunity to talk to one of the Trump attorneys. And I said, listen, we have a 50,000 square foot facility here. And we have steel barriers being set up. Let's say for optical purposes, 1/8 of the place is free for the people that are supposed to supervise to watch the people that are counting votes, which was a complete farce. Okay? You can't make this up. You can see from the videos that I've sent to Fox News. And nobody gave any direction. There were 8-hour shifts, and you can do whatever you want. And I started watching, and I said, wait a second, you can't see anything. The closest desk, okay, let's put things in perspective. The closest desk was 30 feet. The farthest desk was probably 150 feet. And you knew this was orchestrated. Everybody had yellow jackets. Okay, that's how they orchestrated it. However, nobody knew where these people went. And I started looking to the right-hand corner. And at that point yesterday, I started taking videos. I said, what are those black trash bags in the right-hand corner of the Philadelphia Convention Center? And there was no communication. And when people asked questions, they were really, they wouldn't answer them. And at that point, you said to yourself, listen, something's wrong here. Something's wrong. So I left yesterday at 4 o'clock. I came back today, and I started taking videos and pictures inside the convention center. And the reason you and I are talking is one went viral, okay? And I really feel sorry for this individual. His name's the Philly Godfather. He's one of the biggest handicappers, and Stu Varney has him on Fox all the time. And his Twitter account shut down right now. Because
on what ground? On what grounds?
There is no ground. Because people are listening to it. Freedom of speech. And I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. And if I tell you yesterday that when you walk into the convention center, and this is, we're not talking about, we're talking about the presidential, we're talking about the President of the United States of America, okay? And I walk up and there's steel barriers, like we're criminals, okay? And the closest you can see is 30 feet away. And today, Corey Lewandowski and Trump's attorneys are inside the convention center today, and they move everybody up, okay? And you still can't see what's going on. There's something wrong, man. There's something wrong.
Folks, we got a lot of work to do. I don't only need you to get me elected, I need you once I'm elected. I don't only need you to get me elected. I don't only need you to get me elected. I don't only need you to get me elected. I need you once I'm elected.
So I have a message for the Democrats and for the left on this. We're really not going to take your advice and move on. I know you want us to accept the result, accept that Biden won, move on, let the country heal, blah, blah, blah. And I want to explain why we're not remotely about to do that. First of all, this is not a case where there seems to be episodic evidence of irregularity or cheating, but rather systematic cheating. And I recognize that coronavirus created the opportunity, but that doesn't make any more of an excuse. The systematic cheating is operated kind of in 3 steps. First, flood the country with mail-in ballots. Just send them out there by the truckload, so to speak. Number 2, I noticed that in Democratic-controlled administrative areas, there's a kind of blockade. There has been an attempt to shut out close Republican observation of these ballots. And this prevents any kind of reliable checking to make sure that ballots are legal and that fraudulent ballots don't make their way through. We know that in cases where we're talking about dubious ballots, ballots with signatures that don't match and so on, the Democrats have literally fought for the right for those ballots to count, even though they may not be the signature, or at least a similar signature, to the guy who is supposed to be casting the ballot. And number 3, a declaration that there is no evidence of voter fraud, even though the system is set up in such a way that such evidence would be prevented from coming to light. In other words, the fraudulent ballots get lumped in with the good ballots, and it becomes very difficult then to separate them out unless you go through the whole process one by one. The Democrats here are operating pretty much in the same vein as they do on the issue of illegal aliens. Notice that even there, they conflate the difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant. And then if you criticize illegal immigration, they go, wait a minute, you're against immigrants. And similarly here, they conflate the idea of counting legal votes with counting illegal votes. And then if you raise any protest against the illegal votes, they go, you're against counting the vote. So clearly their notion of counting the vote includes fraudulent and illegal ballots, or so it would seem. Now, finally, a word about healing and moving on. Look, you can accept defeat. I can accept defeat. You can accept defeat if you know there was a fair fight and you lost. You got knocked out in the fight. You came in 6th in the race. But you did notice that everybody started on the same line. And then a gun went off, a clock went on, and the first guy deserves the gold medal. It is incumbent upon the people who organize the race to show that the race is fair. It's not enough for the winning side to go, oh yeah, the race is obviously fair. If you want healing to occur, then the people who organize the race have to demonstrate its fairness, have to convince the people on the losing side. In other words, the people who are being asked to accept the outcome must have a reasonable assurance that they are not being cheated. You can heal from a defeat, which is part of maturity to learn to accept. But healing from being cheated is a whole other matter because there's no reason to believe that cheating will ever stop. So that's why we aren't moving on. We're pushing full speed ahead. We're trying to take this in its widest implications, and we will respond accordingly.